Certified Wild.
In the shadows where we rise, voices echo truth on high. Each heartbeat, a war cry. Break the chains of the lies. When the dust settles down, only justice wears the crown. Stand tall, don't turn away. History's lessons here to stay. Don't let them stifle your flame. Fight for your place in the game. Don't let them stifle your flame. Fight for your place in the game. Chasing dreams on broken streets. With every step, our heart beats. Pride and struggle intertwined.
All right. Uncle Ray has to sit you down, young man. Sit down, young man. Get that wax out of your ear, young man. I got something to talk to you about. I'm not trying to entertain you. Uncle Ray wants to talk to you. Have a seat. I want to talk to you about what it means to be a man. Not a black man specifically, a man. Full stop. The first thing I need you to hear clearly is that manhood has nothing to do with skin color. I don't care what they told you. Nothing to do with politics, nothing to do with religion, income, or zip code. A man in Nairobi is the same as a man in Detroit, is the same as a man in Japan. It has nothing to do, but everything to do, nothing to do with anything other than a standard. And that standard is accountability, responsibility, and courage. Not bravado, not talking loud, but courage. The willingness to stand in the trenches, in the truth, when it costs you everything, when the burden is heavy. So if you came here looking for some, black man, this and the black man, no, not here, not affiliated. That's not what this podcast is about. A man is a man. And before I go further, I want you to hear this part too. I'm not going to say that every black American man falls into what I'm about to get into. Most don't. Many don't. Many black men in America, they go to work every day, they're married, they raise their sons and daughters properly. They do the right things. They're pillars of their community. And I say thank you. But what I'm going to challenge you to do, sir, I'm going to go challenge you to challenge other black men who are misrepresenting us. So let's start with the number that tells you the shape of the problem. Let's start with some data. The CDC says that in 2021, roughly 70% of black children were born to unmarried mothers. That's more than double the rate amongst white children. 7 out of 10. That's not a vital record. That's not a stereotype. That's numbers. That's not abstract. You can go and look at research from the Brookings Institute for Family Studies. And their reports repeatedly show that children raised without a present father face sharply elevated risk of poverty, school discipline problems, and incarceration, especially our boys. A Harvard-based study led by a famed economist tracking over 20 million children found that the presence of fathers in a neighborhood, not even just in the home, in the neighborhood, was one of the single strongest predictors of whether a low-income black boy would raise out of poverty as an adult. Not the school funding, not the zip code, not if they have Jordans on their feet. Now let's talk about what happens to the boys who don't get it. Recidivism. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, black men released from prison have one of the highest rearrest rates of any group tracked. over 80% within 5 years uh, some court data shows that black men will reoffend more than white men, more than Hispanics. This is not a destiny, okay? This is all because there's no man in the house, there's no man in the neighborhood who are supporting black men, who are showing black men what it means to be a man. Now, let's talk about mental health because we don't talk about this enough. According to many mental health organizations, about 1 out of every 3 black men are diagnosed with a mental illness and does not receive treatment ever, compared to about roughly double the rate of white men who do receive treatment. Over 70% of black children have a major issue with depression. Over 70%. And we're not treating it. They're not being treated. We bury it. We lie about it. We mask. We celebrate mental health, our mental illnesses, our mental dysfunctions. We celebrate it. Let's talk about our physical health because our physical health is linked to our mental health. The CDC shows that Black adults have the highest rates of obesity than any other racial group in America, roughly 49% among non Hispanic Black adults nationally, in the majority of the states, over 35%. Black teenage girls are 55% more likely to be obese more than any other groups of people in their age group amongst their peers. I mean, that's staggering. I mean, this is because we have households that are in survival mode. This is because we have single parent mothers trying to carry this burden by themselves and they can't do it. They just can't do it. I don't care what they say. They can't do it. Let's talk about the STD rates. All right. This is not comfortable. It's very uncomfortable. The CD, the CDC shows that chlamydia rates among Black teenage boys are over 9 times the rate of white teenage boys at the same age. Gonorrhea rates among Black Americans overall are 7 to 8 times higher than whites. Syphilis among Black women are over 8 times the rate of white women. Come on, man. These are the numbers. You can look it up. This is occurring because black men are not being men, not being black men. They're not being men. There's not manhood in black neighborhoods, mainly because there's no neighborhoods. They're just hoods. Now let's talk about illiteracy. I hate this as an educator. I hate this the most. This one hits hard because this one's easy. This is very easy, but it's not easy if you're in survival mode, right? If a kid can't sit down and read and have peace and quiet and there's chaos in the house, how can a child sit down and read in chaos? You need peace. That means there must be solace. There must be opportunities to read in peace and quiet and without fear. And men provide that. Men provide, fathers, uncles, granddads, they provide that comfort, that protection that's needed. So let's look at this. It says the National Assessment of Educational Progress have shown that Black students' reading proficiency levels are roughly half the rate of white students, year after year for over a decade. I mean, half the rate of white kids. That gap is about a house in chaos, about producing a child who cannot sit still, who can't focus. And then we wonder why we don't do well in the classroom. You have to have focus. Who teaches that focus? I'm sorry, mom cannot teach that focus. That's not within most women's capacity. Most women have a total different skill set. And it's not having boys and girls sit down and focus. Moms are nurturers. they like to nurture. And that nurture creates people who are chaotic if there's not something to counterbalance that consistent nurturing. And then we wonder why the dropout rates are so high. And if they're dropping out, what are they doing? Do you know how prisons are made in America? They look at the fourth grade literacy rates. They take those scores and they can predict how many prisons are needed in a specific region based on fourth grade reading scores. Look it up. So if we have high illiteracy rates, more than half that of white children, then our recidivism rates, our institutionalization rates, our crime rates are going to skyrocket. There is a direct link between literacy and success. There is a direct link between illiteracy and hopelessness. Literacy is key because it opens the doors for everything. But you have to sit down. You have to be disciplined. You must be in a environment that is quiet. That's why the library is quiet. There's no yelling in the library. So when you have high illiteracy rates, if you have whole communities who are just generationally illiterate, you have created a permanent underclass, a permanent underclass. And my argument is that it is men who provide that stable, that stability, that quiet, that calm, that discipline, that regiment that allows for kids to feel safe enough to sit down and read, sit down and focus, sit down and comprehend, use their higher order thinking skills. Most women, they are focused on other things. They're focused on pleasing the child. This is why a lot of children are obese. A lot, and it's particularly black children, because most women recognize they don't have the capacity to discipline children to garner that level of respect with children, where the children are going to actually follow the rules, do what they need to do, be accountable. So what mothers do is they tend to counteract that with being overly nurturing, giving the child everything they want. And then you wonder why you have all these mama boys. You wonder why you have all these weak men. But I'm not blaming the woman. I'm not blaming women. I'm not blaming mothers. It's just not within their wheelhouse. Women, just look. Just look at the numbers. Look at the statistics. And then you look at the hood and you see all the dysfunction. You see all the obesity. You see all the illiteracy. You see the high recidivism rates. You see kids going to jail, going to prison, going to programs, disciplinary programs at young ages. Preteen in the system have a case file. They have a case file. So logic tells us that something's missing. And what is missing most is the black man. So now we have a problem that even when you have black men who want to be responsible, they don't know how to be men because they never had real examples of men. Not in their home, not in their neighborhoods, not in their communities. And unfortunately, because they've been under mom's wings so much, a lot of the men today want to be women. And I'm not talking about want to be women, meaning that they're homosexual, but in the way they deal with society, so emotional. extremely emotional, no emotional intelligence. They cannot measure themselves. So they go out and they shoot up the block. They go out there and they shoot the school up. They go out there and they want to fight. They want to harm each other because they cannot regulate their emotions because there was no man there to help them regulate their emotions. And this goes to both men and women, boys and girls. When a female has a man in the house, she begins to know how to deal with life better because someone's going to show her, be the example, be a mentor, be a guide, be a facilitator in her self regulation. So we're starting to see very violent men and women, not starting, we are seeing at high numbers, at alarming numbers, very violent women. And why is that? It's because for too many generations, there have been fatherless homes. I mean, in the Black community, we have a problem of it being a matriarchal community, group of people. Black people are matriarchal in nature. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. In every other community, particularly in the United States and around the world, men lead the community. Why? Because there are just things that men bring to the table that women don't bring. That is essential, that is critical for the stability and the development and the innovation of a society. It is what it is. You might not like it, but it is what it is. Women have something called white matter, which allows them to talk a lot, but it also makes them very emotional. Men don't have a lot of white matter, nowhere near the amounts of white matter, which allows us to focus better, which allows us to keep our eyes on the prize, look at the goal, not be so disturbed by things that are not relevant to the mission at hand. Men are more mission focused, mainly because of the white matter. That's biology. That's biology. I mean, you may have heard people say that women speak at 5, 6 times, use more words per day than men, 5 times more words a day than men. Why? Because men are more mission focused. The words that we use are purpose driven. We're not talking for the sake of talking. When we talk, we're trying to solve problems, not feed into our vanity. Not feed into our vanity. And again, this is not a hit on women. Women are essential to a society too. Extremely essential. Because if you only had just men, you would have another problem. But right now we have a serious problem, particularly in the African American community. Particularly. Let's look at this entitlement piece. And then this is the part that nobody wants to hear. I mean, we have let a government check, SSI, SNAP, replace work ethic in too many Black households today. Federal data shows Black households participate in SNAP and other assistance programs at rates well above the national average. And I'm not saying that assistance is evil. Hey, we need a hand up. But dependency becomes dangerous. And then it becomes extremely dangerous when it becomes your identity. The moment a boy grows up, the moment a girl grows up, watching her mom just wait for the mailman, wait for that check to come, wait for that deposit to hit the account, that check to hit the account, and he doesn't have a man to look up to coming home, is bringing home the bacon because with hard work. What do you think will happen to that society, that community, when you have people just waiting for the first of the month, waiting for the first of the month for that check? Wait, girl, I gotta wait for them food stamps to come. I gotta wait for them stamps to hit. What do you think that does to a boy and a girl? What do you think that does to a community? When people are waiting for a handout and children are not seeing somebody who's going out there earning, working with their hands, working with their minds, gi- giving something, getting something back. Quid pro quo. The Black community does not have a quid pro quo mindset. Just don't have it. We have a wait for the first of the month mindset, a wait for the first of the month mindset. And it's horrible. And it destroys the community, and nobody wants to talk about it because we don't want to offend, especially those of us who actually have understand what it takes, what work ethic is about, did the things we needed to do to improve ourselves. We don't want to offend anyone, or we just don't want to deal with somebody, saying that, we forgot where we came from. We don't want to deal with it, so we don't say anything about it. And that's being a coward. We have to be able to look those people in our eye and say, you're making us look bad. And as a result, I don't want to be affiliated with you if you're going to continue to make us look bad. No, you are the coon. You are the disgrace. You are the disgrace to this group of people, to Black people. You're the disgrace walking your child to school with your underwear on, with your panties on, and a bonnet on your head, and some dirty flip-flops, slippers on. You're the disgrace. You're the disgrace being emotional, irrational, loud. You're the disgrace. And you are creating another generation of people who are going to be a disgrace. We have to be brave enough to stand up to this foolishness, because these folks are now the Black identity. They're now the Black identity. And what keeps us in check are men, because we know how to deal with each other in ways that women don't know how to deal with each other. We have to understand. Black folk have to understand that handouts and entitlements don't work. They don't work if there's no discipline. They don't work if there's no plan, no strategy in place. You have to have a plan. If I'm going to hand you out something, let's have a plan so you can be independent, so you can have agency. Let's have a plan of agency. But no, just keep on taking the handout, keep on taking the entitlements, keep on waiting for that check to come in the mailbox, waiting for the mailman to come. Oh, that mailman, he comes so late. Why he come so late? Why he come so late? I need that check. Did that deposit hit? Is the money on the card? Go and check to see if the money's on the card. Nobody can hang you out of that. Nobody can keep you out of that. You have to keep yourself out of it. You have to have a plan. So here's what I'm asking of you, man to man, Black man. Stop waiting for permission to lead your household. Stop waiting for an apology from history before you decide to show up for your own son and daughter tomorrow. Be the standard, even when nobody around you is holding one. Hold the standard when no one else is holding it. Be the standard. Define yourself by your word, your work, your relationship with your God, not by what you can get away with when no one's watching, not by stealing, not by lying, not by being loud, not by trying to bully someone, not by trying to gaslight someone, not by trying to play the victim role. Stand on principle. Being a man is never about volume. It is about how you still stand when everything around you is falling apart. It's about whether your children can set their clock by your word. Consistency. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. You come through. You are the standard. People rely on you. You are the leader. Not through words, through actions. And every man listening who's already doing this, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for raising your kids. Thank you for being faithful. Thank you for doing the things in the community, in the house. But we need you to be louder, not quieter. We need you to speak up. We need you to be not affiliated with this nonsense. I mean, it's just simple as that. You gotta stop congratulating nonsense. You have to stop congratulating and promoting things that are detrimental to the community. And we have to take a stand. All of us, men, black men and women who are doing the right thing, we have to take a stand and say we're not affiliated. We're not with you. We're not for that. We're not part of that. We're not going to be about that business. You're not going to set that standard for us because the reality is, regardless of how much we do correctly, no matter how much I say that I'm not affiliated, I'm still lumped in with that group. So I have to be the coffee bean. You have to be the coffee bean. We have to change the water that we exist in and not be the carrot and not be the egg, not become malleable. Because that's what we have as an alternative. Women who are naturally malleable. Again, this is not a hit on women, but women are naturally malleable. They change with the situation when there's some adversity. They're going to change to it. Most women are going to change to the adversity. They don't have the constitution that we have as men to stand up and say, "No, I'm the standard. I am the coffee bean." And we decade after decade, generation after generation, we're asking, we have put women in a position to do something that's just not in their capabilities. And again, this is not a hit on women. This is not a hit on black women. They're doing their best. But this is not what they're designed to do. Sometimes when we don't have a screwdriver, we go in the kitchen and we get a butter knife to screw a screw. And sometimes we can get that butter knife to work, but that butter knife is not going to be efficient. It is not going to be effective. And we definitely do not put the butter knife, or must not put the butter knife in the toolbox and replace it with a screwdriver. A purpose built screwdriver. Because at the end of the day, that screwdriver is going to be more efficient and more effective than that butter knife. And that's what we have. That's what's going on in the Black community. And I'm not going to be affiliated with it. Stand up with me. I know you're out there. I know you're doing the right thing. Stand up with me. Speak on it. Become the rock. Let's overcome these statistics. Because again, regardless of what we're doing, the actions of these actions, these ills of the Black community have become our identity. Why? Because the numbers speak for themselves. Money talks. Numbers talk. The quantitative talks. The qualitative explains the quantitative. The quantitative never explains the qualitative. There's nothing wrong with being a man. Take the leader role. Do what you were designed to do. I am your host, Uncle Ray Roberts, Dr. Ray. Call me whatever you want. This is not affiliated. Peace.
Bye.
In the shadows where we rise, voices echo truth on high. Each heartbeat, a war cry. Break the chains, defy the lies. When the dust settles down, only justice wears the crown. Stand tall, don't turn away. History's us is here to stay. Don't let them stifle your flame. Fight for your place in the game. Don't let them stifle your flame. Fight for your place in the game. Chasing dreams on broken streets. With every step, our heart beats. Pride and struggle intertwined.